Hello and welcome to another episode on Maritime Radar. As the shipping industry accelerates its support for the global efforts to combat climate change by moving towards decarbonization, seafarers' voices and actions are key to ensuring a just transition to a zero-carbon future. Seafarers have always played a critical role in helping to protect the health of our ocean and planet, and that role is increasingly important. Every day at sea, they help to enforce IMO's environment-related treaties by implementing rules on garbage, sewage, and air pollution prevention. Seafarers, the unsung heroes, and the most important component in the maritime value chain will be the issues on the front burner on today's show. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Seafarers' contribution to safeguarding the marine environment was brought to the fore across the globe as the world marked the 2023 Day of the Seafarer. Day of the Seafarer is marked each year on the June 25th to acknowledge the unique part played in the international trade, the world economy, and civil society by these seaborne workforces. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the adoption of the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, the main global treaty for the prevention of pollution of the marine environment by ships from operational or accidental causes. This year's Day of the Seafarer also reflects the 2023 World Maritime Day theme, MAPOL at 50. Our commitment goes on. Before we get further into today's lineup on the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
The management of Lekki Deep Sea Port has announced the arrival of the CMA CGM Brimbald, the first transshipment vessel to call at the container terminal of Lekki Deep Sea Port. The vessel, which service originated from the Far East, is said to be carrying 411 TEUs of transshipment cargo with a nominal container handling capacity of 6,900 TEUs. Speaking on this milestone, the managing director of Lekki Port, Durogang, expresses appreciation to the Federal Ministry of Transportation and the Nigerian Ports Authority for their support in ensuring the start of transshipment activities at Lekki Port. The Chief Operating Officer, Lawrence Smith, also noted that all regulatory agencies operating at the port, particularly the Nigeria Customs Service, work together with Lekki Port and the container terminal operator, Lekki Freeport Terminal, to ensure a hitch-free arrival of the vessel and processing of cargo. Lekki Port, with its state-of-the-art ship-to-shore cranes and sophisticated scanners, is now poised to position Nigeria as a preeminent transshipment hub of West Africa. The transshipped cargo is expected to depart for Cotonou, Benin Republic, which is its final destination on 6 July 2023. The Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents has appealed to the federal government to come to the aid of freight forwarders and customs brokers over the incessant changes in government fiscal and monetary policies that is affecting international trade chain. The acting national president, Dr. Kayode Farinto, during the association's NEC meeting held in Lagos, lamented that due to the removal of fuel subsidy and subsequent liberalization of the exchange rate to be determined by market forces, the Central Bank of Nigeria has fixed the official exchange rate for imports at 589 naira per dollar, and this has led to an increase of about 45% on import duty on vehicles as well as other consignments. Farinto urged the federal government to grant a 1% out of their annual revenue collection as incentives to mitigate and lessen the sufferings of customs brokers in the country. He added that tantamount to taxing, the value of taxes should only be calculated on import duty, and if possible, the 7% post-development levy be abrogated because it is long overdue and has overstayed its usefulness. Delegates from Angola and the representative of IMO have been able to test out the Maritime single window platform developed by the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore for the port of Lobito, Angola. This opportunity came at a business process study workshop as a part of a single window for trade facilitation. The Swift pilot project was launched by IMO and Singapore in 2022 to support medium-sized ports to meet the requirement of the International Convention on Facilitation of International Maritime Traffic and facilitate interconnectivity between ports worldwide, as it will become mandatory for ports around the world to operate the Maritime single window from January 2024, and the formal handover expected to take place by October.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.
If you're just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. Seafarers spend a great deal of time at sea and are a big part of the solution when it comes to protecting the marine environment. In this chat with Captain Akanbi Oluwasegun, President of the Maritime Professionals Forum, he shares the outcome of the Day of the Seafarers event, challenges, and the expectations from Nigeria's government. Stay with us. It's good to have you on the show.
Good morning.
The Day of the Seafarers is an annual event to acknowledge the crucial role seafarers play in international trade. What does this day mean to an average seafarer?
Okay, as a seafarer, a Day of the Seafarer is actually a day that the world has set aside to celebrate the seafarers. It's a day where seafarers are being acknowledged, celebrating them, giving them the necessary attention. The world focusing on seafarers for just one day out of 365 days. So to me, it's like the same way you will see the May Day, the May 1st.
Okay.
That's the way I see the Seafarers Day, which is June 25.
Okay. A lot of things or concerns were raised during this year's event, which is one of them is the demand you want from the new government. Can you take us through these demands?
Okay. One of our demands from this new government in the last meeting is we want this new government to focus a lot, as in focus on the seafarers. If you focus on maritime, it's too wide. But there are people that needs attention, which are the seafarers.
Okay.
Attention in area of capacity building.
Okay.
Attention in the area of training.
Okay.
Attention in the area of remuneration,
Okay.
welfare, and a lot more. So we just need attention. There's a lot we've got a lot to say to this government. So we need a time when the government will actually set a kind of platform where we can actually relate directly with the government or our agencies.
Okay, do you have an association where you can put together your voice so that you could be able, because you, as a seafarer, you cannot just walk to the president to say, okay, these are the things we want, because this needs or request must be put together, and and channeled through to the president.
Okay. Yes, we have the unions, we have various professional groups. We've got.
Are they doing enough to address these challenges?
Yes, they are doing enough. But when you as a seafarer, you are passing the message across to the government.
Okay.
Before it gets to the top, there are distortions in between this.
Okay.
When you are passing this message across. What we are requesting sometimes before it gets to the top is been distorted.
Okay.
So the feedback we get, or the answers or the response we get might not be a round peg in a round hole. There's a lot of misalignment between what we ask for and what we get. So we just look forward to a time when there will be an amendment in the Merchant Shipping Act that will establish a central coordinating body.
Okay.
Say, for example, the Merchant Navy Training Board,
Okay.
where every seafarer reports to.
Okay.
These people will be pure professionals when it comes to seafaring. Pure professionals. It's not the regular agencies where we have people in different sections. When it comes to Merchant Navy Training Board, whoever will be heading this board, every one of them will be strictly seafarers.
Who will understand?
Who understand the language.
Okay.
Who understand everything we request, the terms, because sometimes our languages are not the same as the universal language. We speak different terms. So the people who understand everything we say, all our jargons, and they can actually pass the message undistorted to the government. But the avenue we are using right now, in a way, it's been distorted. We don't know how it happens, but we can just see that what we request is not what we are getting.
Okay, one of your requests is also for you to be captured in the student loan. Do you want a loan or a grant? Which exactly do you prefer?
Okay, when you talk about student loan, yes, recently there's a bill that was passed regarding the student loan. Maritime is capital intensive.
Okay.
What the NLNG are doing,
Okay.
they train the people, the seafarers, and then sometimes they sign a bond
Okay.
with these people.
Okay.
They serve them for a particular years. That could be done in a way like that. We have what they are doing to the NSDP right
so
now.
it's not necessary to capture you in the national student loan
If
grant.
they should not, what we will be requesting, okay, imagine if the grant, I don't know how much this grant government is giving us, but to renew all my documents, minimum I should have 3 million naira to renew my papers. And our papers are not like the universities that it's the moment you
So
get
that
this,
means automatically you want something different from.
it has to be different.
Okay.
It has to be different because the cost of our courses are very high,
Okay.
and it expires.
Okay.
So before you finish your government grant, maybe your document is expiring already. So it should be a kind of different system.
Let's look at the contribution seafarers make in protecting marine environment. What are the contributions you make?
Okay, like recently, the focus is actually on maritime pollution, and MAPO is 50 years now, and the team is our commitment goes on. So when it comes to this maritime pollution, it's affecting us a lot as seafarers, and the IMO came up with this convention in 1973, and in 1977 there was an incident. So 1978 there was a kind of amendment already. So in 1988 we have the full implementation of it. This MAPO is focused on various categories. We've got different annexes, Annex 1 to Annex 6, but the focus, because of time, let me just focus on Annex 5, which is the garbage. These garbage are divided into various categories. The category A, B, C, D, up to K. Okay. Now, these categories, one of the deadliest one is the plastic, which is a category A.
Yes.
Now, this plastic it does not decompose. If you go on YouTube now, you just Google sea animals suffering from garbage. You see some of these animals are swallowing this garbage, plastics, and it's killing them. You see a lot of them trapped in waste nets, and it's killing them. Even all seafarers, we have seafarers who are working underwater, the divers.
Okay.
During any construction, you see a diver struggling with nets. If this net should trap the seafarer, you are struggling. It can kill. In fact, it can kill this diver. So, but we are now seeing that IMO has been focused, because this MAPO is actually focused on ships.
Okay.
But if you look at the interface, we have the coastal waters, the coastal villages.
Okay.
For example, the Takwa Bays, the Snake Island. We've got coastal villages where people are staying in large numbers. They are generating waste. Even up to Ajegunle, they are generating waste. Who monitors how their waste are being disposed? So we just need a time when we actually did it this time. We educated the coastal villages, we sensitized them, and we need the lawman should extend their garbage picking to these villages. They should go into the villages by boat or by enemies, pack their waste, sensitize them, educate them. But as far as I'm concerned, the ships are complying.
Okay, we will look at another area of concern, which is the 80% vessels operating in Nigeria, and which are owned and crewed by foreigners. But that will be after this short break. Please stay with us.
News Central TV, Africa's #1 storyteller, has come with the best of both worlds. With a combination of news app and live TV, we ensure that you keep track of the latest headlines, breaking news, and in-depth analysis from professional journalists from around the continent. Download the News Central TV app on Android and iOS and get started today. Don't forget to follow us on News Central's social media platforms. News Central, Africa First.
If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar, and I still have with me Captain Akanbi Oluwasegun. Before we went on that break, I said there's another concern, which is the 80% vessels crewed and owned by foreigners, which is another area that Seafarers has raised concern. So what do you have to say about that?
Okay. You're talking about cabotage.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it negates the intent of the 2007 Cabotage Act.
Okay. Cabotage is actually a word from the French, is a borrowed word, cabot. Cabot means trading and sailing along the coast. And the pillars of cabotage are: the ship should be registered in Nigeria, fully owned by Nigerians, manned by Nigerians, and registered, built, manned, and owned. Right? Now, on manning, we are still yet to have a full implementation because we still have a lot of foreigners in our waterways. On built, we are not complying yet. There's still a very wide gap. On owned, to some extent, yes, the old ship owners are actually benefiting a lot from this. And from registered, the master still, we see our foreign flags vessel in our waterways doing coastal trade. So the master needs to improve on that. It has to happen. We need this Cabotage Act to be fully implemented. It should not be one-sided. So the ship owners are actually beneficiaries of this thing. So they do not have any reason not to engage the Nigerians. They do not have any reason. If they could cry to the government that Cabotage says this ship should be owned by us, and government said, okay, yes, it's now owned by you,
they should also make a case for you.
Exactly. So we should also be able to go to them and say, this your ship should be manned by us. But in a way where, in a situation whereby they are benefiting and we are not benefiting, And there has this clause, they have these areas where they are always focusing on on competencies. A lot of them would put they would claim
Raise the issue of
competencies and the limitation we have in the Nigerian license. Let me just break it down in the layman way. Going back, using your driver's license, you have a driver's license that says you can drive in Nigeria, right? And you can drive any kind of car in Nigeria, be it truck, maybe that is the grade of your driver's license. But you do not have a license that can drive from Nigeria to US, to Ghana, to any other African countries. Okay. And a company who is meant to employ you to drive a car in Lagos to Ikeja to VI, is telling you that you are not, because you do not have a license that can carry a car from Nigeria to US, says you are not competent.
Wow. That's
so
ridiculous.
This limitation we have, the Nigerian license says unlimited in area of the size.
Okay, that does it mean that when NIMASA is giving them these licenses, they are not doing enough to sensitize or train them to have understanding of what it means to hire Nigerian seafarers? Because that might be the bridge.
Okay. Before you become a ship owner, there are offices you need to have. You need the offices of, let's say, the ship manager, your HR department, your crew managers. They should understand the licenses. They should understand the scope of the license. And then the master themselves also needs to understand the coverage of what license you are issuing. You said it says greater than 3,000 gross tonnage. Greater than means any vessel from 3,000 upward, any kind of size, that license can take care of it.
Okay.
But it said it is near coastal voyage, meaning from Cape Verde up to mouth of River Congo, that you cannot sail beyond this point.
Yes. They are restricted within
this range, these jurisdictions. All our coastal trade, they're happening between Lagos, Port Harcourt, Calabar. All these things are just within the coast. So there is that license limitation does not in any way affect this license. It does not affect trading in our coast.
They don't just want to hire you. But are you making a case with NIMASA to ensure that this error is addressed?
Do we need to make a case? We do not need to make a case, actually. We are actually complaining. In fact, we have gotten to a point that we said we want to stop lamenting.
Okay.
We just flow with the tide. We are tired of complaining. We are tired of shouting. We are tired of... Now Saudi Arabia has come. They are taking Nigerians on daily basis. Qatar have come. They are taking Nigerians. So we are getting good pays outside the country now. We are getting good jobs, well respected, a lot of benefits outside. So it will be a time.
You no longer care about what they do here.
There will be a time Nigerian owners will beg a Nigerian sailor, the Nigerian seafarer, to take a job.
Wow. Another recommendation that you made was the CVFF disbursement, how you prefer it to be disbursed. So take us through these recommendations that you made concerning the CVFF. You know, there's been a longer drawn challenge about disbursing the CVFF. It's 20 years and 7 weeks now. So what are the recommendations that you want? Like maybe it should not be spent outside Nigeria, but used to build vessels in Nigeria, and so many other recommendations you made during the Seafarers event this year. Okay.
Disbursing this Seafarers fund has actually taken longer than expected. Okay. This money is not such a big money. It's not such a huge money. I just imagine by the time you spread this, you share this among the qualified people, the owners, by the time you give them, this money is so small. But we kept going on a lot of sittings over and over and over about this money.
Maybe we spent so much money
sitting
at the
to
table
discuss this money. Disburse this money. Yes, well, we make recommendation that if you want to get vessels, you can actually build these vessels in Nigeria.
So, but do we think we have the infrastructure to start building vessels in Nigeria?
Okay, there's a vessel.
Because there's an issue of power, there's issue of getting steel and all that.
So that is where the government comes in. On the steel, first of all, let's identify the problems. What are the reasons? Why can't we build this ship in Nigeria? We had these Egina, owned by Total, was brought into Nigeria to complete the build of it was partly built in Korea, and they brought it back to Nigeria to complete the building. We have been able to, the Nigerian Navy has been delivering some vessels which they build in Nigeria. So we need, first of all, we need to list out what are the problems. Why can't we build these vessels? If it's about steel, what is holding us? Why can't we have the steel to do this? Indians are building vessels. A lot of countries are building. So why can't we? So we need to identify it by the reasons, the problems.
Well, there's a lot of things to really talk about on this issue, but unfortunately time is not always our friend. It's been Captain Akanbi Oluwasegun. He is the president, Maritime Professionals Forum. I must thank you most kindly for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
We will keep this engagement, and we hope the new government will listen to these challenges and address them.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.
And that's our show this week. I hope you learned a lot about seafarers. Every week, join us on Maritime Radio as we explore factors that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global maritime news and industry insights right here. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Many thanks for your time on today's show. See you again next week.